Hello everyone, welcome to a new feature here on the Gavin Partridge YouTube channel. We're going to be looking at the Ipsos Political Monitor. This is a monthly tracker that Ipsos have been doing for years and years and years, looking at the party leaders, how the government is faring in terms of public opinion, and the issues that are concerning the public as well. So we're going to go through some of the slides in a moment. We've got 38 of them, so we won't have time to look at all of them, but we will have a look at some of the key data. I shall get on that for you shortly. This, of course, is a companion video to the regular monthly opinion poll tracker video that we've been doing since the summer of 2021. Been doing that for a couple of years now, tracking opinion on a month-by-month basis leading up to the next UK general election. Of course, that can happen no later than January 2025, but as it's unlikely we'll be trudging to the polls in January, you would have thought the next election will be sometime between spring and autumn 2024. Never say that, votes in 2019, they had a December general election after all, but that was in unusual circumstances. I would have thought the next election would either be in the coming spring or more likely the coming autumn. So, next year, of course, not this year. So I'll get on with that in a moment. Just say that if you are enjoying the content of the channel here at the moment, I don't get the opportunity to upload as much as I should, but if you are enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. This is the July political monitor from Ipsos. So they do this once a month. There will be a new political monitor, I think, coming out within the next week or two. And when that is out, I'll try and bring you that, more quickly, but I have done with this. It would be nice to get the video done for the month it's actually released. Anyway, let's crack on then and have a look. So Ipsos, formerly Mori, and Ipsos Mori, now just Ipsos, but they're still the same company, have been doing political opinion polling in the UK since I think the 1970s. They are now our oldest pollster, I think. They've got data going back a long way. You'll see a little bit of that in a moment. So this is their PDF. I've got the link to this in the description, so you can have a look at all of this for yourself. You will need to, because it's PDF, you will need to download Adobe, of course, to be able to open the file and have a look. But as long as you've got Adobe, you should be able to check out all of this for yourself. Link in the description. Okay, so the key voting intention for July 2023 from Ipsos was Labour on 45%, and the Conservatives were on 28%, giving Labour a lead of 17 points over the Conservatives. And that is in line with many of the polls that were conducted during July. Check out the opinion poll tracker video that was released a couple of weeks ago. That can be narrowed down a little bit. So, of course, this includes don't knows, won't say, etc., etc. For those just, everyone just giving a voting intention, all giving a voting intention, so taking out the don't knows and whatnot, then the Labour lead goes a little bit smaller, goes down to 42% for Labour, and 27% of the Conservative share also goes down a little bit as well, which gives Labour a 15% lead. So, doesn't make that much difference, really. It's within margin of error if you take out the don't knows. Right, so that's how the overall voting intention came out from this poll. They do have a chart here, but it shows headline vote intention since the 2015 general election. We know from our opinion poll tracker videos that currently the government, the Conservatives, are going through a period of really quite deep unpopularity. They are more unpopular than they've ever been, the Conservatives, since this period here, which was at the end of Theresa May's government in the spring and the summer of 2019. But other than that brief period, the Conservatives haven't been as unpopular as this since 2015, or even, I don't think, since 2010. That's the honeymoon period that Boris Johnson had after the 2019 general election, particularly going into the earlier days of the pandemic when everybody wanted to rally around the government. You see when crossover, proper genuine crossover took over between the Conservatives and Labour, and that was in the autumn of 2021, around the time of Partygate. Since then, Labour has had it consistently. In fact, the Conservatives have never led a poll since around, I think it was November or December 2021. Currently, we see Labour on 45%, Conservatives on 28%. This is showing headline voting intention since January 2004, going back into Tony Blair's government. So where the Conservatives currently are down here is very reminiscent, actually, of where the Labour Party was during the last couple of years of Gordon Brown's government. So the Conservatives look like they're at the kind of level that a party goes to when they are about to be turfed out of office, where you're going to get a change of government. Certainly, the Conservatives are down where Labour was, in 2008, 2009, before the change of government in 2010. And the Labour Party are up here, which is very reminiscent of where the Conservatives was in around 2008, 2009. So you look at that and you think that probably we're due for a change of government, really, given the level of unpopularity that the Conservatives have got to. Because that's only the last change government, last time we changed the government. To be sure, you would need to go quite a bit further back. We've changed the government. The last change of government was in 2010, had a change of government in 1997, before that 1979. Before that, we had Conservatives and Labour alternating with one another from 1964 to 1974, and had 10 years of successive changes. And then before that, you've got a change of government in 1950 to the Conservatives. So we don't change governments that often, historically. When a party gets into power, they're there for a little while. The period from 64 to 74, where we had successive changes, or I suppose 79, when we had successive changes, was a little bit unusual for this country. But yes, the Conservatives are down quite a long way compared to in comparison to where Labour was in 08, 09. So it does look as though Conservatives have reached kind of level that they would get to if they're about to be turfed out. Now, let's have a look at satisfaction with the party. So this is what I really want to focus on for these videos. Of course, we do the regular voting intention opinion polling. We do that with our monthly tracker. So this is what I want to look at, really, which is the party leader personal ratings. So are you satisfied or dissatisfied with the way whoever is running the country doing his job as Prime Minister and leader of the Labour Party or leader of the opposition? So for Rishi, we see that 63% of the general public are dissatisfied with Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister, 11% don't know, and 26% say they are satisfied with Rishi. So that gives Rishi a net negative rating of minus 37%. Bear in mind, Rishi hasn't been in power for over a year. He's only been there since last October. So in theory, technically, he should really still be on his honeymoon, but he never really had a honeymoon, to be honest. So we see a net negative rating for Rishi Sunak of minus 37%, which is a 3% swing on the previous poll in June 2023. Kier Starmer is on 53% dissatisfied. So quite a lot and this is something that we're seeing. I've talked about this in earlier opinion poll tracking videos. This is quite a negative rating for Keir Starmer. For some reason, despite the Labour lead, Kier seems to be more unpopular than his party. There's a little bit of a mystery about why, actually, because he, in theory, hasn't really done anything to upset anyone. He's not been in power. But it is something that we've seen consistently since he became Labour leader of the opposition, that he is not particularly well liked by the general public, and the Labour lead probably happening despite him rather than because of him. That's a complete different scenario to what we saw with Tony Blair, for example, in the middle of the 1990s when he was leader of the opposition. He was much more popular than his party overall. So we have 53% saying they're dissatisfied with Keir Starmer, and 31% are satisfied. That gives Keir a net negative rating of -22. So we've got both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition really quite unpopular, but of course the Prime Minister is quite significantly more unpopular than the Leader of the Opposition. We will keep a close eye on that as we run up towards the general election, see how that changes. It would be the one crumb of comfort, I think, but the Conservatives can cling to that Kier, is not overwhelmingly popular, and there could be room for improvement there for Rishi. But then again, there could be room for improvement for Kier as well, of course. In terms of the government, well, we know the government is very, very unpopular. 79% are dissatisfied with the government. Only 14% are satisfied. That gives the government a net negative rating of -65, which is absolutely atrocious. So again, this slide just confirms that 63% are dissatisfied with Rishi Sunak, 26% are satisfied with him, gives him a net negative rating of -37. And in terms of the satisfaction with Conservative supporters, well, as you expect, more people who support the Conservative Party are satisfied with Rishi, 63% satisfied with him, 27% are dissatisfied. But of course, there's not enough Conservative voters to win the general election overall. Consistent Conservative voters, he needs to get floating voters as well. This is showing net satisfaction with Prime Minister since 1979. So you can see Rishi just here, this thick blue line. He is very much down with the most historically unpopular Prime Ministers, to be honest. Gordon Brown, he's down with Gordon Brown, which is that red line just there. The other red line is Tony Blair. Look how popular Tony Blair was throughout the vast majority of the early years, anyway, of his Prime Ministership through his first term, up to around the 2002, 2003. So this would be 97, 2001, 2002, just here. And you see around this period, that's when he starts becoming a little bit more unpopular, gets involved in the Iraq War and whatnot, and his popularity never recovers. But for his first 4 or 5 years, Tony Blair really was exceptionally popular. Most of our Prime Ministers are around here, so we've got May, Cameron, Major, Thatcher. We can go all the way back to Margaret Thatcher's miss, Boris Johnson, and Liz Truss. So, I mean, you can see clearly that Rishi Sunak is down with Gordon Brown, where Gordon Brown was before the end of his Prime Ministership. Most Prime Ministers, their career ends in unpopularity. As you see, all of these lines go downwards. Some of them do it more quickly than others, of course. And as I say, Rishi has never been particularly popular. By the way, that line just there is Liz, poor old Liz Truss. It only lasted like a month or something, didn't she? And she started off unpopular and pretty much went south from there. Can we pinpoint out Mrs. Thatcher? That would be interesting to see her trend line. It can be a little bit difficult to make them out, these charts. So this is Boris, of course, this line just here. He started off quite unpopular. Then he got more popular around between 19 general election, then he got quite unpopular once again. I think this line here is going to be Mrs. Thatcher. That's going to be Margaret Thatcher, isn't it? Because she had such a long run. So you can see, actually, Miss Thatcher does things differently. She starts off quite unpopular. She's down here through much of her first term. And then you see how her line rises up. So most of these lines start off up here and they go down. Margaret Thatcher, Maggie, actually started off here and her line went up, which is a little bit unusual. And this would be around sort of 82, 83, I suppose, when her popularity rose after the Falklands War. And then you see that through large portions of premiership in the middle phase of it, she was quite unpopular. Then she gets more popular again, though, around 1986-87, when she wins her third general election. And then she finishes up very unpopular down here when, of course, she got involved with poll tax and whatnot, and she ended up being turfed out. So she does things a little bit differently. But generally, what happens is that prime ministers start off up here, and they get more unpopular as they go along. Tony, again, Blair is exceptional with how popular he remained until he got involved with the Iraq War. But clearly, historically, Rishi is doing very, very bad. He's doing very poorly. He's down there. He's never been that popular. And his popularity has gone down since he started, and he is at that level that Gordon Brown was at just before he, his prime ministership ended. So it's at that kind of level where a prime minister, can expect to be turfed out. So as the government concerned, again, historically, this is a very unpopular government. We can see that just here. Again, this red line is Tony Blair's government. That's very, very popular for most of it. Just started to get more unpopular later on. Mrs. Thatcher's government, again, was quite unpopular at the start, then became more popular for a while, then becomes very unpopular, then gets more popular, and then finishes up down there. And so, yes, we can see that, the government is at kind of level where a government would be if you're expecting to have a change of government. This is Theresa May's government here, it's blue dashed line. The other red line is Gordon Brown's government. So this government is more unpopular than in Gordon Brown's government was. It is a very unpopular government, to say the least. And in terms of Kier, so we can see, again, confirming that 53% are dissatisfied with him, 31% are satisfied with him, gives him a net negative rating of -22. As you'd expect, Labour supporters are more satisfied with Kier than the general population. 57% are satisfied with his performance, compared to 31% who are dissatisfied. How he compares to leaders of the opposition go all the way back to Michael Foot. He's right in the middle. He's slap bang in the middle. So we've got Tony Blair up here. Again, he's an extremely popular leader of the opposition. Became an extremely popular Prime Minister for his first 4 or 5 years. David Cameron's quite interesting. He wasn't that popular at the start, or he started off quite popular, then he becomes a little bit more unpopular, and then he becomes really quite popular, actually, and he does quite well. He's quite in comparison to Tony Blair there, actually, in his last year or two as leader of the opposition. So Cameron was more popular than his party, as was Tony Blair, and that is something that generally portends a change of government. Though, so this is the confusing thing about where we are right now. Usually, if you're going to get a change of government and people decide they want to change the prime minister, the leader of the opposition will be more popular than their party. But in the case now, it does look as though public opinion has shifted and the public wants a change of government, but Kier is less popular than his party. But we see he's not doing too bad. He's like in the middle there. There have been more unpopular leaders of the opposition. For example, we've got William Hague down here. We've also got Ian Duncan Smith, IDS. So actually, when you look at that, he's not doing great, is he? Really? That thick red line is kind of in there with light IDS, and it's in there with William Hague as well. These were leaders of the opposition, but never really took off with the public. He's not doing as badly as Ed Miliband did down here. He's not doing as badly as Jeremy Corbyn did, which is his line just here. But he's not, the last time we had 2 changes of government was in 1997 and 2010. The 2 leaders, Tony Blair and David Cameron, are up here. He's significantly short of that, really. So it does remain a little bit of a mystery about why Kier just isn't gelling, really, with with the general public. There's also a chart for Ed Davies, Sir Ed. So 36% are dissatisfied with him, 22% are satisfied. So he's not doing that great either. As far as the economic index is concerned, people are very, very worried about the economy at the moment. That's something that does often precede a change of government too. So 55% are expecting the economy to get worse, 28% are expecting the economy to improve, and 15% think it will stay the same. The last time people were this worried about the economy, really, other than here when we're in COVID, but that was an exceptional period. The last time people were this worried about the economy was here, that's 0809, again, you know, during the financial crisis and before the change of government of 2010. So people are quite worried about the economy. As far as the economic optimism index is concerned, which is something Ipsos has been doing for a very long time as well, you can see that net optimism is at minus 27%. So it has been lower. This time last year we was right down here, and at times during the latter stages of last decade as well, we was down there. And we can see that 2008, 2009, we go down here, but government gets changed. In 2010, economic optimism went up for a while, and then it sort of fell, and then it goes up. But economic optimism has been quite low, really, since the referendum. Actually, since the Brexit referendum, we see people have been generally a little bit not all overly optimistic, let's say, about the economy, other than for a very brief period, I suppose, during the middle and middle and autumn maybe of 2021. Is Britain getting better or worse as a place to live? So 6% think it's getting worse, and just 6% think it's getting better. That will be worrying for the government. Rishi Sunak's government performance, again, you know, we've got various questions here. We may go through those in another video. Haven't got time go through them for this video, though. So for responding to Russia, that is a positive for the government. 58% think that the government's done a good job responding to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, with just 26% saying they've done a bad job. But other than that, generally, most of the questions there, you know, you can see them for yourself. Just pause the video if you want to have a look at how people think the government is dealing with these various issues. Generally, we find that the government is lagging it behind. NHS is really bad for the government. Improving NHS, 82% think the government's done a bad job improving NHS, and just 13% think they've done a good job. That's quite a concern, I would have thought, for the for the government, for Rishi. And in terms of managing the economy, 69% think that the government's done a bad job, and 24% think that they have done a good job. We'll carry on down. Let's see if there's anything else. There's so much here. You could do like 2-3 videos, really, with all of this. They do so much research. This is a monthly thing that they do at Ipsos as well, you know. So much data to go through. Who'll make the most capable Prime Minister? So for July, 31% say Rishi, 36% say Kier. It's not overwhelming for Kier Starmer in terms of people thinking that he will make a good Prime Minister, but in terms of Rishi, it's a little bit ahead there. And again, they have got historic data for that too. Who would make the most capable Prime Minister? So you can see that Gordon Brown was up here, and then at the end of his term, he was down there, whereas David Cameron was up here. You know, he starts off down there when he begins as leader of the opposition, and he grows into the role, I suppose. So by 2010, people thought he would make a significantly better Prime Minister than Gordon Brown did. Ed Miliband was always down here. People never really thought he would make much of a Prime Minister. Jeremy Corbyn as well was always down there. People never really thought he would make much of a Prime Minister either. Theresa May starts off up here, ends up just there, so she was always ahead of Corbyn, which a lot of people forget. And Boris Johnson starts off up here and he ends up down there. So by the end of Boris's term, people really have had enough of him. And where Kier and Rishi are right now, you know, they just here. So Kier's lead over Rishi is not overwhelming. He's not up there where Cameron was, for example. He's not here where Theresa May and Boris Johnson were. If this weather's far enough back, I suspect we will see Tony Blair, you know, when he was leader of the opposition before he became Prime Minister, up here somewhere, probably. So Kier is quite a long way short, actually, of where the Prime Minister, where the leaders of the opposition are or were before they became Prime Minister. And that would be the one crumb of comfort that Conservatives and Rishi Sunak can take. That you know, you can see how close together both of them are. It's quite unusual for that to happen before the government gets changed, and it would be the one thing, if you was advising the Conservatives what can they do, the one thing they could probably do through a general election leading up to it is go after Kier, actually. So I would expect quite a bit of negative campaigning from Rishi and from the Conservatives going after Kier and putting him in the spotlight, putting him in under scrutiny, because he is not by any means overwhelmingly popular as a leader of the opposition. He's a little bit more popular than Rishi, but there's not all that much in it. Right, okay, well, what did we make of that? I hope you enjoyed that video, everyone. I know it's been a very long one, 25 minutes, and we didn't cover half of the data, really, but they have from the Ipsos Political Monitor. So we're going to bring you this feature every month. They do this Ipsos Political Monitor every month. There are some people out there, you know, who study these things, believe that the personal ratings of the two leaders are actually more you know, better guide to what's going to happen in the election than actual voting intention before the election. When you get to an election, then voting intention polls become very important. But we're almost out of midterm now. We're almost coming towards end of term, really. But I suppose we're still just about in midterm. And you know, there are people who monitor this that say that personal ratings are a better guide to what's going to happen at the general election than headline voting intention is. And I suppose, given how close they are, then actually, despite the big Labour leads that we see at the moment, if that is true, if like the personal ratings of the two leaders are a better guide, given how close they are, we could well see a narrowing of those polls in the next year or so, and we might even finish up with quite a close general election in the end. But we'll see. You know, we'll see. I'm not going to give it a view on that because I've not been studying that long enough. But I know there is that view out there that actually, you know, the personal ratings are a better guide midterm than headline voting intention. So we shall see how it all works out. I'm going to bring you another one of these where they update the August Political Monitor, and we'll run this right way up to the general election. If you have enjoyed this video, I know it's been a very long one. If you enjoyed the video, then please like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think about all of this. Will we see a narrowing of the polls? Why hasn't Kier, despite everything that's gone on, really taken off with the general public as Tony Blair did and David Cameron did before they became Prime Minister and we changed the government? There was a change of government. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Thanks so much everyone for doing that, and we'll have more for you very, very soon. For this one though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.